We're 5 weeks away from SummerSlam. You know the deal. After each pay-per-view, that Monday needs to be something special. And I'll say this. The one thing that made this show really special, and it wasn't The Undertaker directly, it wasn't Brock Lesnar, it wasn't Sasha Banks, it wasn't Becky Lynch, my Naomi, it was the crowd. The crowd was extremely active. And no matter how good your product is, if your crowd don't give a damn, it don't mean a damn thing. You can have the best product on the planet, but if the crowd in that arena doesn't care or feel it, we don't have anything. So the Kansas City crowd was very good. Now, I'm only going to cover a few things in here because there was a lot going on. I'm not covering Big Show and Miz. I don't really care about that. I am not covering the Luke Harper and Roman Reigns. You know what happened there. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, they have nothing to do right now. So they're doing a mini Shield with a mini Wyatt family. That's what that is. And I'm not going to go any farther than that. But for the rest of the show, I am going to talk about. The first thing I'm going to talk about are the women. We literally got 3 segments for women. We got the 2 matches, and we got the 2 women that are basically dealing with 2 men. And one of those men is not there, and the other guy job like stink to Randy Orton. And that is Lana and Summer Rae. Now, I'm not going to say I don't love me some Lana. She's a gorgeous woman. I'm not going to say I don't like Summer Rae. She's not a bad-looking woman either. But when you try to put these 2 together in a storyline that I did suggest, when Rusev came back, he should have a woman that goes against Lana. Because they were doing something with Dolph Ziggler. So it would make the best sense to do this. But here's the thing. It only works as long as Rusev is winning. And this is terrible. Lana, at the end of the show, walked up to Summer and beat the living shit out of her. And said, "Don't touch me again," with that gorgeous little body of hers. I don't really have a problem with that. And eventually I believe they're going to have a match. Summer Rae will be facing a Lana, possibly in a mixed tag or one-on-one. It's going to eventually happen between them. But when it comes to Rusev, I'm not even talking about Dolph. Rusev has been buried badly. And that leads me into this match. 6-man tag. Rusev, Owens. Oh my goodness. I don't even know how to state this with Sheamus, Rusev, and Owens. You have the end of the night, which everyone loved it. In that arena, they loved it. But when you break this down, this doesn't really benefit Rusev one bit at all. It doesn't benefit a Sheamus at all, even though he is the Money in the Bank winner. You could say he's safe because he doesn't have a job at all. You don't have to worry about Kevin Owens because Kevin Owens is still dealing with Cena. That's going to happen. But where did any one of these 3 actually benefited? The only ones that benefited here is Randy Orton and Cesaro, which I'm very happy to see Cesaro really getting over. This is something that the WWE should have done in WrestleMania 30 when he was over. But they buried his ass with the advocate of Brock Lesnar. Now, I'm sure the WWE sees that people want him to be a face. But here's the question. How long do you believe it's going to be before they bury him again? I pose it down below. So that really didn't benefit, honestly, 3 of the 6 people there. And the only reason I'm not mentioning Cena is because he was already pretty much up on top because of when he dealt with Seth Rollins. And here's the Seth Rollins segment. It felt long-winded to me personally. It had the right mannerisms for a Seth Rollins. He's a chicken shit. He's always been a chicken shit. He was booked as a chicken shit. This is how he is. He hasn't deviated from it, and we know where we stand with him. Dealing with Jillian that way was the way he was going to go. But tell me this isn't going to be eventually a champion versus champion match between a Seth Rollins and a John Cena. It's eventually going to happen. But I don't believe that Kevin Owens and John Cena is over yet. I say it's going to take a little while. I say it's going to take maybe about a month before they actually go to it. This is the way I feel about it when it's Seth to Cena. And that makes you wonder, what are they going to do? Are they going to have champion versus champion? Or is Kevin Owens finally going to win that championship and then John Cena is going to go to the World Heavyweight Championship? That's the way it really looks to me personally. But you guys tell me below. The Primetime Players versus Los Matadores. The only reason I'm mentioning Los Matadores is because they're a plot device. This was to get New Day to get some time and to let the Primetime Players job because of them. As I said before, Primetime Players is doing great as a face tag team, especially that they're champs. I don't have a problem with them. And I know New Day is getting over with New Day Rocks. And I know people are embracing them now. And they're working their asses off. Xavier Woods, Biggie Langston, even Kofi is busting their ass to get this stupid gimmick over. But you know how I feel about it. They could have done something even more better than this with New Day. They could have done something extremely good. And particularly Kofi. If they allowed Kofi, if he's capable of truly showing how great of a heel he could be, I really believe this is a loss for them. Yes, they'll still keep getting over until at least the WWE realize they're getting too over and they break them up. And maybe they'll turn Kofi face and go after an Xavier Woods or Biggie Langston. That's eventually going to happen. That's the way I see it. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but this is the way I see it. The women had 3 segments, as I said earlier, about Lana and about Summer Rae. That was one of them. The other 2 were 2 matches. The first one is Charlotte Flair versus Brie Bella. I didn't expect it to be anything other than what it was. Brie, I know they're Brie fans. I know they're Nikki fans. I'm not against you guys. You saw my video on Nikki Bella, and should she leave the WWE or not? She really should leave because she can improve her craft way more away than she can here. Has she improved? Yes, she has. But she can make way better strides somewhere else. And as I said about Brie, Nikki needs to leave, but Brie cannot because you know who's out. You know who's hurt and who needs this. So when it comes to Daniel Bryan, she can't leave. She is going to job and do whatever the hell she needs to keep the money coming in because her husband is out hurt. There is nothing she can do. If she left now, it would hurt them badly. If he retires, he's going to need to keep having doctor's appointments. If the surgeries he does are effective, you won't have to worry that much. But if he does retire and he's still hurt, that money must still keep coming in, so Brie must have no choice but to stay as she is. So I didn't expect Brie to win here. Charlotte truly outclassed her. And I'm not a Brie fan. And Brie is a decent wrestler just like a Nikki is. But let's be honest. Charlotte Flair is a higher caliber wrestler than she is. She just is. Brie and Nikki were brought in as twins who could possibly wrestle. Possibly wrestle. And as time went on, they did improve to a certain extent. But there's no way that they were going to compare to a Charlotte who doesn't just have a father who can wrestle. She has grown up with people in the business who taught her how to wrestle next to her father. There is no way on this green earth they were ever going to compare. She's got a bigger following, she's a better wrestler, and a more charismatic person compared to Brie. Now when it comes to Sasha Banks and my Naomi versus Becky and the Paige, here's the problem I see. The same as the first match. You had great chemistry with all these women. Well, except for Brie. She really is outclassed. But you could say that when it came down to it, it was Charlotte who carried the entire match because Brie was no match for her. But when it came to the tag match, all 4 women could actually pull their own weight. 100%. Paige, Becky, Sasha, and Naomi pulled their weight. The interview beforehand was actually pretty good. When they were sitting on commentary, they actually did pretty good. But when it comes down to it, the problem I see is this. You have a You got 3 women from NXT. That one of those 3 is going to be next Divas champ, because they're going to drop that title after Nikki reaches beyond a AJ Lee's title reign, because AJ's leaving the business or she already left. That's the truth. That's the only reason why she's still sticking there. Because as much as you guys who love Nikki Bella, you know as well as I do, the only reason she's been there because she's had the worst storylines and the worst matches for almost no apparent reason, just because they didn't want the title to go off her, because they want to get rid of the longest reigning diva in history of this decade, and that is an AJ Lee. I'm sorry. But when you see this, you got 3 women that are going to have to challenge for that Divas Championship. And the problem I see is this. When it comes to NXT, Triple H gives them better storylines to work with. That's the reason why everyone loves them so much. But on the main roster, you're not going to get that. So you're going to see 3 women, possibly Paige added in there, and I doubt they're going to throw Naomi or Tamina in there, which is dumb. When it comes down to it, maybe you're going to have a Sasha fight a Naomi because they're going to need her to have a feud for the first time. You may have a Charlotte go up against a Paige, or a Becky go up against Paige. That's how it's going to go. And in the end, you're not going to get any good storylines for these women. And I feel sorry for them because they deserve it. These women deserve good storylines. They've done good work in NXT. And so is Naomi and Tamina. As much as people don't like Tamina, and as much as people believe that Naomi's just a piece of ass. I know many people haven't said that, but some do. These women deserve better. Look, Naomi, Tamina, Becky, Paige, Sasha, Charlotte all came up through NXT, which was FCW originally. Every last one of those women have come up, and you tell me below, has any of them ever gotten anywhere? Any of them? Because the Bellas were brought in, from what I understand, separately. They may have worked in OVW at one point, maybe, or maybe in FCW for a little bit, but they were brought up on the roster way ahead of everyone else, and they're where they're at because of them being twins. These women all came from the former FCW turned to NXT. And I haven't seen that one of these women get over properly with fair storylines, good in-ring work if they're told that they got a job the way they do, and literally dropped after a while because the writers don't want to write for them, which kind of goes with the storyline. But they just take them off TV until at least Total Divas come on. So you get my point. Let's see. Anything else? That's it. This is about the last thing, and this is about Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. Was this a good segment? Yes, it was. And mainly because of what I said in the very beginning of this review, the Kansas City crowd made it epic. It wasn't just that Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker have good chemistry and they actually tried to hurt one another. And to a certain extent, they really did look like they were trying to hurt each other. And calling in the locker room, and I enjoyed that the commentators ran. They didn't stick around to talk. That was the wisest thing they did in the back. Tell them to just leave. Leave. They said, okay, we're gone. That was the wisest thing for them to do. The little pep talk beforehand with Triple H and Steph, I think wasn't that 100% effective, but it did set up for this. It was a good fight in the back, having Brock tied up. The problem I felt with Brock was that he's telling them, don't touch me. I'm sorry. What I think should have been done was for those cops to actually grab him and knock him to the ground, stun his ass. Come on, Brock could take a stun gun. Why couldn't they use an actual stun gun on Brock? Even if he didn't like it, he would have got a bigger payout, because it would have made things even more interesting. You can't stop Brock and you can't stop The Undertaker. Why not use freaking stun guns to stun their ass? They didn't have to be charged. You could have just thrown them at them or something, and they could have fell to the ground and they stuck them with some tape or something. That would have been more effective. But it doesn't mean it wasn't a perfectly good segment. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the beginning of it with, well, let's be honest, Paulie always does decent promos, and this one really made everything lock together. Admittedly, it was a little long-winded and it got on my nerves, but it did work. And in the end, we're going to have a WrestleMania rematch at SummerSlam. Was the show good? With the ending of the show and what happened with Brock, the main reason those were so effective was the crowd. But this is what I'm going to say to you, and this is what I want to pose to you in the comments. Do you believe the WWE is desperate, even more than normal, to be calling out basically The Undertaker, who doesn't normally come back more than once a year? He just doesn't. Unless this is really get Undertaker ready for Sting, which could be either a Hell in a Cell or Survivor Series, I believe they're doing this for the simple reason that they have no idea what to do with Brock Lesnar before he goes off for another couple of months. He's so dominant, there's no one for him to go through. Like I said in my Battleground review, he is the most dominant person there. They overbooked him so heavily that they underbooked everyone so heavily. Basically, get my point. There was no one to go up against except for The Undertaker. There was no one. Cena couldn't do it. Triple H couldn't do it. Randy Orton has never gone up against him, so he may eventually. Seth Rollins was no match for him. Roman Reigns kind of went toe-to-toe, but didn't really get that far with him. You can't use Mark Henry. Mark Henry's no match for him because he's already jobbed. Big Show, he's already jobbed to him. So there was no one else left for him to go through except The Undertaker. And that's why I believe he came back. Because there was no one for Brock to really deal with. But the question now is this. After SummerSlam is over, what is going to happen next? Is Brock Lesnar going to still be there? And if he is, who is he going to go up against next? Who is Seth going to go up against next? Is it going to be Cena? Is it going to be Orton? You really tell me. I really want to know. So I hope you enjoyed the Zane review. Please give me a comment below. My R-Truth review will be coming out. As I said in that video, it may come out Thursday or Friday. So I'm really sorry. I'm getting stuff done. Have a good day and have a good night. Peace out.